And tonight we are going to be meeting for the first time within the Kane County office building here with the members of the Kane County Democratic Party. And the reason that we are out here is because our opponents do not want this session to be videotaped. Already they do not want the public to have access to what they say. They do not want their words to go on the record. But I don't think that this election is about me. I don't think that this election is about our opponents within the Democratic Party. It is not about Chris Lausen or Jim Oberweis. It is sad to say, but we have all been witness to some of the most destructive years in American history under the rule of George W. Bush, where the destruction of life in Iraq, the destruction of liberty, losing our ability to the right of privacy. And I believe that this election is about preserving democracy itself. Government belongs to all people of all races, all ages, all economic brackets, that everyone should have an equal voice in government, that it does not belong to the rich and the powerful who currently govern the halls of power. Most people acknowledge that we do not own our political system, that it belongs to the rich and the powerful, the CEOs, while the citizens are left out in the cold. And even as Lincoln chose to lead, this is our moment in American history to preserve this document, to preserve the immortality of those words, we the people, so we pass that message on. So we pass that on to our children and our grandchildren. Long before I became a candidate, I delivered my first political speech, and I was a lot more nervous, shaking, and my first 12 words were, the task of my generation is a separation of corporation and state. This reigns true today. Most recently, telecommunication companies, multinational corporations tried to buy votes in Congress, seeking immunity from the very act of spying on American citizens. Multinational corporations, phone companies, violated the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy, while spying on American citizens, underscoring that democracy is under siege, for sale to the highest bidder. Dick Cheney's oil company, Halliburton, another shining example of a company receiving corporate welfare checks, no-bid contracts, stealing from the taxpayers' pockets in order to perpetuate an unending, illegal, and unjust war in Iraq. And as we march forward in our moment in history, as we stand at these crossroads in these dark days of unemployment, underemployment, rising uninsured, unfunded education system, and unfound terror threats, unfound weapons of mass destruction, the American people are hungry for leadership. And our opponents tonight will tell us that the problems in Washington are economic and technical, as if some computer program is going to solve all of these woes. I vehemently disagree. I believe that the problem in Washington is a leadership deficit, a lack of open government, a lack of debate on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. Consider that the last great speech delivered on the floor of the House of Representatives by Senator Robert Byrd of West Virginia, as our nation was going to war, one man, 86 years old, feeble, with his voice shaking, cried out to an empty room and said, "Where is everybody? America is going to war. Where is everybody?" And I feel that we have a responsibility to return government of, by, and for the people. Tonight, I will submit my resume to the Democratic Party of Kane County with one word on it: leadership. Leadership to stand up against the most powerful member of Congress in 2006, Dennis Hastert. We forced him to come home and campaign full-time. We forced Dennis Hastert to spend $4.5 million here in the 14th District. A leader within the Democratic Party who asks not what can the party do for us, but how can we help other people, other great candidates get elected. That is what we need in Washington, is a leader. And with your help, your vote on February 5th, a leader to the floor of the House of Representatives, because the problem in Washington is a leadership gap, and we can fill that gap with one progressive Democrat from Illinois' 14th District.